Assalamu alaikum everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most gracious. I hope all of you are doing good and taking good care of yourself. Let's continue with the chapter Diseases of Blood. In this section, we are going to focus on the following bleeding disorders, that is, vitamin C deficiency, also known as scurvy, hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia, also known as Osler-Weber-Rendu syndrome, and hemophilia. Capillary fragility. When the smallest blood vessels, that is capillaries, become weak, a person has capillary fragility. There are no serious complications from having capillary fragility, but it may signify that a more serious underlying problem exists. Therefore, people should consult a physician if there is bleeding in the skin. Capillary fragility includes two conditions, that is, ascorbic acid deficiency and hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia. The fibrous coat or adventitia of small caliber vessel is defective or inadequate in both conditions. Vitamin C is an important cofactor in collagen fibrogenesis. When dietary intake is inadequate, collagen synthesis is impaired. This is usually manifested in vessel walls. Whereas in hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia, a structural deformity is found involving the integrity of small vessels' vascular wall. Vitamin C deficiency. Scurvy is a disease resulting from lack of vitamin C deficiency, also known as ascorbic acid deficiency. A systemic disease caused by lack of vitamin C dietary intake in which the vascular wall integrity and wound repair mechanisms are defective. Scurvy is rarely seen in the industrialized world because most individuals have sufficient vitamin C in their diets. Citrus fruits and tomatoes are the primary sources of this vitamin. Therefore, scurvy is usually encountered in third world countries where adequate nutritional intake is not available. Clinical features. Purpura is one of the main manifestations of scurvy and occurs because of vascular wall fragility. The purpuric lesions may occur in the oral mucosa and on the skin and are represented by petechiae and ecchymosis. Although the bruising usually occurs after traumatic provocation, in severe scurvy, spontaneous purpura may be identified. Because the collagen fibers of the periodontal ligament may also be defective, severe periodontal disease may be encountered and spontaneous tooth loss will occur. Scorbutic changes may also involve in bone matrices, leading to pathological fractures. Because vitamin C is important during healing, ulcerations or lacerations may persist and become secondarily infected. These ulcerations can involve oral mucosa. These are the symptoms of scurvy. In stage 1, there is lethargy and fatigue. Stage 2 resulting in bleeding of gums. In stage 3, anemia is manifested, whereas in stage 4, high-grade fever is reported. Clinical picture showing hemorrhagic gingival enlargement because of capillary fragility, most likely due to scurvy. Histopathology. Microscopically, vascular wall changes are not discernible in scurvy, although pathological changes are identifiable with electron microscopy. Skin or mucosal biopsy shown extravasation of ipsocytes, extravascular clot formation within the tissue, and hemosiderin pigment deposition. The disease is diagnosed by assessing the patient's history, clinical finding, and serum ascorbic acid levels. Treatment. Scurvy is reversed by adequate dietary intake of ascorbic acid. The vascular changes are reversible. Periodontal tissue breakdown, however, is permanent. Lost alveolar bone will not regenerate after adequate vitamin intake. Hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia, also known as Osler-Weber-Rendu syndrome, an inherited disease in which vascular walls are defective and multiple vascular dilations occur in the mucous membrane of the upper aerodigestive tract. Inherited as autosomal dominant trait. Hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia affects the integrity of vascular walls. Lesions are most prominent in head and neck areas, invariably involving the oral mucosa. The damaged vessels are dilated, creating multiple reddish purple papules that are separated from one another by normal appearing skin or mucosa. They typically occur on the dorsum of tongue, on the lips, and in the nasal mucosa. The affected vessels are larger than the capillaries, and trauma may cause prolonged hemorrhaging. Epistaxis is common. The bleeding is usually stopped by direct compression. Clinical picture of hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia or Rendu-Osler-Weber syndrome. There is multiple small raised reddish papules present on the dorsum of tongue. Histopathology. In hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia, a dilated vascular channels are engorged with ichthyosites are seen, and ichthyosite extravasation is also common, with the deposition of hemosiderin pigment in the perivascular connective tissue. The vessel wall defect is not apparent with light microscopy. Instead, electron microscopy is needed to demonstrate the vascular abnormality. No treatment exists for this condition because it represents a structural defect. Hemorrhage can sometimes be problematic and cases of severe epistaxis can occur. Compression with the gauze or cotton tags will usually result in the cessation of hemorrhage, and the affected vessel may be cauterized. For cosmetic reasons, particularly around the lip area, the cutaneous papules can be treated by laser therapy. Coagulation disorders. Coagulation disorders are the condition that affects the blood clotting activities. The coagulopathies are diseases caused by defective proteins that are components of coagulation cascade. They may be hereditary, the result of mutation in the genes that encode a specific coagulation factor, or echoic, involving multiple coagulation factors. Most of the hereditary coagulopathies are quite rare, with the exception of hemophilia A. Echoic coagulation disorders. They occur primarily as a consequence of chronic liver disease and among patients taking antithrombotic medications such as Coumadin and Quercetin. Because the majority of coagulation factors are synthesized within the liver, any disease that leads to death of hepatocytes will result in coagulopathic disorder. Therefore, hepatitis, alcoholic cirrhosis, biliary atresia, and biliary cirrhosis can all be associated with prolonged bleeding times. Malabsorption syndromes, particularly steatorrhea, involve defect in fat absorption. Inadequate absorption of fat results in reduction of fat-soluble vitamin K, an essential factor for the synthesis of 5 clotting factors. The inability to absorb vitamin K predisposes to coagulopathies and a bleeding tendency. Hemophilia. Hemophilia is a group of bleeding diseases that evolve as a result of hereditary defect in the production of proteins necessary for normal blood coagulation. The two major forms of hemophilia, A and B, are hereditary. The defective proteins are components of intrinsic pathway of clotting that functions within the blood vessels. Genetic defects of various other clotting factors are extremely rare. Clinical features. Purpura is the clinical sign common to all types of coagulopathies. The purpuric lesions are characterized by diffuse purple, red or brown macules, commonly referred to as bruises or ecchymosis. These ecchymotic changes may be seen on the facial skin and the oral mucosa, typically occurring after minor trauma. Hemarthrosis, that is bleeding within the joint, is another common finding in the coagulation disorder, being more prevalent in the individuals with hereditary factor deficiency. Clinical features. Hemophilia A, that results from hereditary deficiency of factor VIII, and hemophilia B, that occur due to the hereditary deficiency of factor IX, are the most common of genetic factor deficiencies. Hemophilia A is approximately 10 times as prevalent as hemophilia B. In all heritable coagulation disorders, the disease becomes apparent in early childhood, often after the child engages in some physical activity that results in profound bruising or hemarthrosis. In addition, the eruption of deciduous teeth may trigger spontaneous gingival hemorrhage. Dental extractions or oral surgical procedures are contraindicated without taking appropriate precautions, which often necessitate the hospitalization. Clinical picture showing the enlargement of knees of this patient with factor VIII deficiency due to the repeated episodes of bleeding into the joints, that is hemarthrosis. Another clinical picture showing hemorrhage in the patient with factor IX deficiency occurred after routine periodontal curettage. Echoic coagulopathies, commonly associated with liver cirrhosis. The echoic coagulopathies encountered in the liver disease and anticoagulant therapy share clinical features with those encountered in two major forms of hemophilia A and B. Signs of advanced liver diseases are attended by severe coagulation defects with ecchymosis. Perhaps the most common cause of coagulopathy is anticoagulant therapy. Coumadin, most commonly prescribed, interferes with the formation of many coagulation factors by inhibiting vitamin K, a coenzyme necessary for their synthesis. Patients properly placed on anticoagulant therapy receive doses at levels that prevent spontaneous profound thrombosis, yet do not place the patient in jeopardy of severe hemorrhaging. Nevertheless, the drug level cannot always be precisely monitored. Some of these patients will develop ecchymosis. Diagnosis. Unlike platelet disorders in which petechial hemorrhage occur, coagulopathies are associated with more severe venous hemorrhage. Therefore, purpura is often large and more diffuse. The clinician is the best position to make the diagnosis by conducting assays that measure the intrinsic and extrinsic pathways of coagulation. The prothrombin time, now standardized as International Normalized Ratio, that is INR, examines the extrinsic pathway, whereas partial thromboplastin time, PTT, assess the intrinsic pathway. Patients taking Coumadin or those with the liver diseases are usually monitored by prothrombin time, whereas the PTT will be prolonged in hemophilia A and B. Treatment. Oral surgical procedures in patients with a hemorrhagic diathesis can be life-threatening if appropriate precautions are not observed. In general, a prothrombin time or partial thromboplastin time that is prolonged more than 3 times the laboratory control level is an indication that the oral or periodontal surgery should not be undertaken without precautions. If tooth extraction is required, the patient must be hospitalized and coagulation factor supplementations must be available. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.